Hi, this is Charlotte Stevens and the Ancestors. You can see my teddy bear. Might as well just set him up. There you go, represent. All right. This is Charlotte Stevens and the Ancestors, the world's greatest business and empowerment coach for badass Black women. And that's my teddy bear. I highly recommend you get one. It feels really good to just cuddle with your bear. It's very soothing, especially when life gets you down sometimes. I wanted to share an insight I had about another component of living with bipolar 2, or just living with bipolar, period. And that is, I guess, it's a form of imposter syndrome. You can feel like your ability, your confidence in yourself is just mania or hypomania. I have bipolar 2, so I don't get manic, but I get hypermanic, and hypermanic can have me starting 50,000 projects and feeling super confident that I can just, do all of them very, very well. And I don't need sleep. I'm good. I just want to do all the things, and I want to tell you about them in detail. I have all these ideas that I need to express to you right now. It's very important. So it's a lot of that energy that then turns into irritability, especially if I don't sleep and don't take care of myself and get caught up in all the things. So I remember I was reflecting on this because I have now been coaching badass Black women for about a year and some months now. Getting paid to do it. I've been doing it forever, right? But this is the time that I've been getting paid to do it. And I remember at the beginning of my coaching practice, I freaked out. I had this, I guess, experience of hypomania, and I felt like I was a total fraud. Like I came crashing down from a period of hypomania to depression. And I was like, oh my God, I don't know what I'm doing. I need to give my clients all their money back. Like, I need to just be hospitalized. Like, I shouldn't be around anybody. I'm a danger to everybody. Like, my mind was just like spinning out of control with all this like negative shit. And it was just like, I knew that it wasn't true, but I couldn't stop it. And it was so loud and so dominant in my thinking. And I just felt like, oh my God, like I should just be locked up. Like nobody should be listening to me. Who am I to think I could guide anybody to anything? And so I'm reflecting on that because I just recently got my client to $200,000 peacefully, right? And this is what I've told people I could do. But like a year ago, I had not done it. I had not. I kind of done it for myself. Mine wasn't as peaceful as it needed to be, because that's what I came to this. That's why I came to this whole business. Is that I got myself to six figures in 9 months in my online business, but it wasn't necessarily as peaceful as it needed to be. I really should have centered myself more and taken better care of myself. So then I designed my business around making sure that when I teach Black women how to start their business, that's what's centered is you, right? You first. So now I've done it, right? Now I've done it. I've got my client to a point where she was making $200,000 in 9 months of us working together. And that's awesome. So why am I bringing this up? I'm bringing this up because it's not always your mind. It's not always the bipolar working against you is what I want to say. I don't know if that's how I want to phrase it. It's easy to dismiss your mind and what you're thinking because of your condition, and to doubt yourself because of your condition, right? Oh, I think I can do this because, but that's just my bipolar disorder speaking. I can't really do this. I can't really guide this group of women, to peaceful profits. Who am I to think I could do that? I'm fucking crazy, right? Like, it's easy to get in that space and then to kind of just like want to like burn it all down, right? Just fuck it, right? Here's your money back. I'm a loser, right? Like, and if you listen too much to the bipolar and act on it, like, I had at least the wherewithal to be like, to kind of just be in my bed and be going crazy in my head. I did call a couple friends, but I did not like go make it public, right? Like, oh, let me talk to the world while I'm out of my mind right now, or make decisions, right? I mean, I had enough wherewithal to be like, let me calm down before I start emailing clients and being like, I can't help you. So know that that's a component of having this condition. but it doesn't mean that every idea you have sucks or can't be successful. Um, I do believe that some components of my condition are very helpful for me. I'm somebody who takes risks that a lot of people don't take. That's what so that's what I've come to realize. So I've come to realize in my life is I take risks other people don't take, right? But it has served me in various ways because you have to risk things in order to get to the next level sometimes, right? So I've when I started my business, I was like, this has to work. This has to work because I still can't see myself returning to any job. When you look at these job descriptions, y'all, and you see the little bit of money they're going to pay you and how much they want from you, like that list of like requirements or responsibilities, like it is so long and detailed. Like I get bored looking at job descriptions. I'm just like, oh my God, like, oh my. And they want so much. They want nights and weekends. And I mean, they just want to own you. And for what? For not that much, right? Even if you're getting over 100,000, like in the Bay Area, that's not nothing. And after taxes, it really ain't nothing. So it's just like, yeah, and they want so much of your time all day. And the thing is that it just gets normalized. We just think that's the way it is, and it's not cool, and it sucks. So I knew I couldn't go back to that. I knew that that was not going to work for me. So what I want to share is that, yeah, bipolar, living with bipolar is complicated. It's complicated. It's more difficult because you're hated on, right? Like I don't care. I don't care what people think. Um, I do, but I don't, right? But not enough for me not to talk about this. I care more about the people whose lives will be saved, or who will really think about managing their mental health. That matters more to me than what people will say. And I really needed to see more of this when I was coming to terms with my condition, because it's hard to accept. It is fucking hard to accept, especially because a lot of us with this condition, we are overachievers. We are actually highly accomplished. And so we're like, what? I have a brain condition. I have a mental illness. I have a mental health issue. Like, I was student body president. I graduated summa cum laude from Howard University. I have a master's degree. I got my business to six figures in 9 months. I don't have a business background. I've done a lot of badass shit, and I live with bipolar two. I live with bipolar too, right? So it's all of those things, right? And there's a lot of us out there, and so because a lot of us are highly accomplished, we're just like, what? It's hard to accept. And then people in society, they throw the word bipolar around. I've been trying not to throw it around with the weather, right? Like, because the weather feels bipolar, because it keeps going from rainy to sunny. But that's the thing that I want to break down, is that it's more complicated than that. It's not just like, oh, I'm super happy and I'm sad. And for me, I mean, the hypomania and the mania is not happy. Like, it might start off, because if you're going from depressed as hell, right, and you're coming up through that, like through the layers, you're going to pass through happy. But it gets to like hysterical, or like wired, right? Wired, irritable, restless. And then, you're not getting enough sleep, and you're irritable because you can't juggle 10 things at a time. Like, I actually can't do 20 things at a time, right? Like, oh, look at that. You're not eating, you're not taking care of yourself. You're not even noticing that you're hungry. You're not even noticing that you're not tired, right? Like you're literally, you're not tired. Like, just so all of that. And it's not a happy, like, yay, like, it can start off that way, but then it gets nutty. It's almost like drinking. Like, your first drink that you have, you feel good, right? You're like, yeah, right, where you're feeling good. And like the more you drink, the more it can get like sloppy, messy, ugly. I'm thinking of those memes where it shows you like at the beginning, it shows people like at the beginning of the night and they're all like cute, right? And feeling themselves. And then like the end of the night, they're like laying in the gutter, right? Like vomit. Like that's how, that's almost how it can go from the depression to the hypomania to the mania, right? So yeah, the irritability, the frustration. So it's complicated, and I think that's something that people really need to understand. And I said this in my last post about bipolar, but the parts of me, depressed version of me, doesn't know or understand or like or fuck with the hypomanic version of me, and vice versa, right? Like the hypomanic version of me looks at the depressed version of me and is like, you are such a loser. Why are you wasting your time? What do you mean that you couldn't open the mail? Why are we scared? That just, just no compassion. She's impatient, right? She's like, get out of bed, right? And the depressed version of me is like, why would you start all these projects? Who cares about anything? Like, this is stupid. We know how this is all going to end. Like, depressed version of me is just like, this is like, you know what I mean? So, and it's difficult because the outside world sees all of those versions as me, right? They meet depression, the people who meet depressed Charlotte, they're like, and the people who meet the hypo Charlotte, the people who meet the stable Charlotte, right? Like, it's all of those. I remember running into this guy that I talked to a lot in Trader Joe's. Like, I don't know about you, but I chop it up with people in Trader Joe's. And I have a friend in there, and he's very upbeat and gregarious all the time, right? And me, I'm usually that way. But he caught me after a depression where I had been contemplating ending my life. And he'd asked me what I was up to. What have you been up to? And I was just like, I didn't want to say, well, I just got through, plotting my suicide, but I'm good now. I'm over it. I didn't really have much to say, right? So my mood was just kind of weird. And he met depressed Charlotte, right? He met depressed Charlotte, and it's like, I don't identify with her, but apparently I am her, or she takes over, from time to time. And the other thing that happens when I start to come up from the depression, right? Because it's a cycle generally. The higher you let your hypomania go, the lower the depression goes. Meaning that the more days that you don't sleep, the more days you just neglect everything. You just let yourself, yourself spinning out of control, and you just let it happen. The more you're gonna crash. So you want to rein it in. So for me, springtime. The minute it gets warmer, the minute there's more light, I want to be out. I want to be up. I want to do all the things. I want to start new projects. I want to, I get invigorated. And for me, it's probably I do very much feel that the springtime is like the beginning of the year. I don't believe that the beginning of the year is like in January. I believe it's in spring. Makes more sense anyway. They would start with the rebirth. Plus my birthday is around that time, so I really identify with spring. I love spring, and in the past, I didn't realize that I get hypomanic in the spring, and I don't want to sleep, and I really get hypomanic in the summer. The more light, the more sunlight there is, a lot of times that can negatively impact people who are bipolar and make them more manic or hypomanic in the spring especially. And it can also make people more likely to end their lives in the spring, because a lot of times we're coming out of a depression in the winter and we've been thinking about ending our lives but didn't have the energy. And then once spring hits, we have the energy. And so a lot of people end their lives actually in the spring and the summer. There's a lot of mixed episodes in the summer. So what's been helpful for me, and I've said this before, is paying attention to your cycles. Notice your cycles. Like, I noticed I get depressed almost every winter. I really don't like the cold. I really don't like cloudy days. I very much like the serotonin that I get from the sun. I love, if I can just go for a walk on a beautiful sunny day, I can deal with almost anything, right? But when it's not sunny and it's cloudy and just like, I'm just like it doesn't work for me. So I know that about myself. And so I try to get in front of that. I know that I get hypomanic in the spring, so I try to get in front of that. What does that mean? What does that look like? That means that I get stricter about my bedtime. In fact, I need to think about that right now. I get stricter about my bedtime in the spring. I'm mindful of, am I staying up too late? Am I getting all my sleep? Do I need to take a nap? Um, because I'll want to stay up. I'm mindful of, am I starting too many projects? Let me just focus on one thing. Um, I'm mindful of, am I wanting to spend money on things, right? Am I wanting to book flights or pay for things that are financially irresponsible right now? Um, I have to be mindful of those things in the spring. I have to go into being more assertive about my routines, right? It's like, okay, let's go exercise. Let's get some of that restless energy instead of starting 50,000 things and shopping for 50,000 things. Let's go to the gym. Let's go hit some weights, right? Maybe we're going to up our routine. So I already take a daily walk. Maybe I'm going to do a daily walk, and now I'm doing that in weightlifting and something else if I have to, right? If I feel like my hypersexuality is kicking in, right? Let's go buy some sex toys if need be. Or let's go do some more physical activity, right? Or let's go meditate or fast, right? But get in front of it is the point, right? I know that these things happen in the spring. I don't need to test it. I don't need to be like, well, let's see if this spring is different. I'm old at this point, right? And then thank God that I've seen enough. I'm not really old, but I've seen enough of my cycles to be like, yes, for sure, this is what happens to me every spring. This is what happens to me every winter. So pay attention to that and then do your best to get in front of it. Getting in front of it for me in the winter, what that looks like is first I read a rain jacket of a bright yellow rain jacket so I can still go walking outside. It's bright ass yellow because those days when it's gray bum me the fuck out, right? And so if I have this bright yellow jacket, it cheers me up, right? It makes me happy and it allows me to go walking even when it's cold, right? I got some sweats that I can wear that allow me to go walking when it's cold, or some boots. That's where I can get in front of it. Other things about winter might be like, oh, well, maybe there's certain warm beverages that I can get excited that I get to indulge in the winter. Maybe that's some way I can get in front of it. I like to take baths a lot, so maybe I can buy myself a whole lot of nice soaps or shea butter, right? I'll rub down, be moisturized. That's a way I can get in front of it. I also bought a wetsuit because I I humor myself. I thought I was gonna go swimming in the winter. I did once or twice, but I got a wetsuit because I wanted to keep swimming even when it was cold. Um, Again, another way to get in front of the moodiness that it comes with associated with the cycles. So pay attention to the cycles, pay attention to how you're affected. You have to get your sleep. It's a non-negotiable. For a lot of people with this condition, just one night of shitty sleep can send you into the sunken place or, the hysterical place. And so neither one are good. And so for me, that was really compromised when I was married because my ex-husband snored, and between my ex-husband and my babies, and the toddlers, like I never got any sleep. So I didn't realize at the time that was taking me to crazy town, but it sure the hell was. So for a lot of people, it's just that simple as your lack of sleep is really messing with you. Or even the food you eat. Like, we can't eat all this processed bullshit food. You just can't. You have to eat whole foods, to the best of your ability, which is why this is why I am all about peaceful profits for Black women and people in general, because most of us are dealing with something, right? So most of us are dealing with something on some level, mental or physical. There's something going on, and we could really use a lot more time in our day to pamper ourselves and really pour in. It's not even pampering ourselves, but to really pour into ourselves, because we're dying of diseases that are unnecessary. And even if you're not dying an early death, you're living with shit that's unnecessary. We're suffering in ways that we don't need to be suffering. And it can be as simple as slowing down, right? I used to always try to get something that I could hold with one hand, because I would always be Uber driving and eating. So burritos were like, that was my thing, because you could, like get down with your burrito and then pick up your cup, right? And still drive with the other hand. That was my life. And I'm so grateful that now I really get to sit down and eat well. Like today I'm this person now. I didn't even think I'd be this person, y'all. I had non-fat, plain Greek yogurt. I used to be all about my Yoplait, all about my processed yogurt, but non-fat, plain Greek yogurt with some honey. I did take half a blueberry scone and crumple it up in there. And then I had some organic blueberries. Uh, that was breakfast with a cup of chai. And then I had basically a taco salad. So it was like, ground turkey, taco flavored, over some greens with some avocado. I think that's something else. Some pistachios, maybe an apple. But like I get to eat like that, and those things are good for my brain, right? These things are good. They support my brain health. They support my well-being as somebody who lives with bipolar 2 condition. So I got to do 8,000 steps today or more, right? I can go to the gym, like all of these things. I drink all my water and stay hydrated. All of these things are available to me. I got to meditate. I got to take a nap. I got to do a lot of networking with people I like, right? That's the other thing. Like I work with people I enjoy, only people I enjoy. That makes a big difference, right? Not being stressed out. So I want us all to have that. And that's what I'm all about as far as making sure that we have peaceful profits. And there's all kind of ways you can follow me and learn more about how to make that possible for you. I also want people to not feel ashamed for having this condition. People compare it to having like, cancer or anything else. You wouldn't feel ashamed of that. But what happened for me, sometimes I have to fight it, but like it's a lot of effort on a daily basis for me to really make sure that I'm taking care of myself. And what that looks like, for example, is my sleep. I have to get my sleep, and there's some nights where you don't sleep well, so that means I have to take a nap in the day, and that means that things get delayed. Or I have a limited amount of energy. I really have to regulate. It's a lot of regulation of my mood and my energy. They're both deeply affected by one another. So I have to keep my mood in a good place so I have the energy to do certain things. And then I get to a point where I run out of energy. And I can feel guilty about all the things I want to do, all the things I feel like I should be able to do, right? Like the feeling limited by the condition. And, society's not merciful and not compassionate. So I have to find the compassion for myself and remind myself that if I was somebody, going through chemotherapy and I found out that I didn't have the strength to do whatever, the laundry, I don't have to beat myself up about that. I don't have to feel bad about that. And so for a lot of what stood in my way of really dealing with this condition was shame. And definitely depending on what you've been taught about mental health and how supportive your community is or is not, it can really fuck with you. Because people can make you feel like it's all in your head and you're just being weak and you need to suck it up and get it together and you're crazy and you can't be trusted and you're unstable and you're unlovable and all these things. And part of the reason why I can be so upfront about that is because I know it's not true. I am crazy, but in a good way. But like I also know I'm dope as hell, and I don't have shit to prove, and I don't care. And you don't either. But we also do do manage it. Do manage it. It's hard. When I had to come to terms and I really looked at what it would take to be well, it went against everything that seemed available to me. Right? It was like, how am I gonna be able to sustain myself and take care of myself? And I'm still struggling, and really center my mental health and my well-being. It was a lot, but I gave it all to God. I was like, look, if you want me to live, this is what I need. Make it happen, Captain. Like, right? Like, find a way. I'm gonna trust in you. Like, here it is. Like, apparently I got this condition and it's serious and it's gonna take a lot more effort and energy than I originally thought, right? To manage and to make sure that I am well. So it is not easy. And depending on how much support you have, it can make it that much harder. And a lot of people really don't understand it, and there is a lot of stigma, and there are people who would definitely reject you just off of that knowledge that that what they associate with bipolar, and because of people who maybe have mismanaged it, right? People who aren't managing their bipolar, right? And I think of it like, I don't know. In some ways, um, I want to say like alcoholism, even though it's not completely, but in the sense that people can recover. You can be a recovering alcoholic. You might live with alcoholism for all of your life, but you could be somebody who does not drink and somebody who doesn't like have alcoholic rages. Maybe at some point you did. Maybe that's in your past, but now you're managing it, right? And so I think that people need to have room for that, like make room for that in your mental space. Because so I was talking to somebody who had a bad experience with somebody who was not managing their bipolar, and so when I told them about my condition, they automatically assumed that we were one and the same. And it's just like, I actually have totally restructured my life to manage mine, but at the same time I had nothing to prove, right? Like, I'm not going to beat you over the head with how dope I am, because I'm actually really quite content, right, with like my life and where I'm at, and I'm really not worried. Um, but it bothered me because this person was frustrated that their partner had not shared in the beginning that they had this condition, but at the same time, that attitude of, because his attitude was kind of like, I don't really want to, I don't know if I want to mess with you anymore, if I want to talk to you anymore. That attitude of immediate rejection is why people don't speak up. And so I need like people to understand that, is that we want people to talk about their mental health issues, especially like after somebody uh, takes their own life, right? After somebody takes their own life, then we want to be like, oh, I didn't see the signs, or oh, how did that happen, right? Like, I wish they would have said something. I wish I could have done something. But a lot of times we don't really create the space for people to be honest about how they're feeling with their mental health, and we want to be dismissive, and we want to just pray it away, or we want to just tell people to suck it up, you're a strong black person. And we really need to be more accepting of mental health, and that's what I'm hoping to do by sharing my story, is allowing people to see themselves and to find that it's okay. It's okay. There's actually so many dope ass people who have mental health issues, or who are neurodivergent, and I'm kind of proud to be associated with so many dope ass people. Um, and I know I'm fucking brilliant, so you're like, so, and chances are you are too, right? So it's just a matter of accepting all sides of ourselves, loving all sides of myself. Like, I love depressed Charlotte. I love hypomanic Charlotte. I love all my sides. Even they don't love each other, but I love all of them. And I know that I need to rein them in. It's not like they don't benefit me. My depressed side of me is probably what makes me so empathetic, and feel people so deeply, so quickly. People like open up to me quickly, and it might even be like why I'm so willing to be so vulnerable. I don't know, but that's a gift. It's a gift. It just can't get out of control. And the hypomanic side of me, she's dope too. She gets hella shit done. She is confident. She's a go getter. Like, she's dope. I love her. I love her. She can get stuff done like last minute. Like, she's badass. But she needs to be reined in too, right? Like, everybody needs to just be balanced, right? And that's what it's all about, is making sure that there's that balance, and not letting any of these um aspects of my personality like get out of control, but to work for me, and also to appreciate what they bring to the table, because they do bring things to the table. I am, I know it's weird. I am kind of proud to live with this condition, and I'm certainly proud to have a diagnosis, um, because it makes me unique, and I've had a unique life, and I appreciate that I don't feel compelled to live by other people's terms. I'm grateful for that. So anyway, I hope this was helpful for people, especially Black people who are dealing with any type of mental health issue. Also, I hope that all of us will realize how easy we can center our wellness and create our own ability to generate income doing what we love. I will break that down real quickly. I'm gonna wrap this up. So you make a list of all the things you know how to do. Maybe you know how to start a nonprofit. Maybe you know how to start a magazine. Maybe you know how to get connections in the media. I don't know. Maybe you know how to build a house. Whatever it is you know how to do. You make a list of all the things that you could teach or that you could coach or that you know or that you've done. And then after you make that list, you go back and you circle the things that you actually enjoy, right? So maybe you know how to start a nonprofit, but you hate that. You don't want to do that. Well, don't circle that. But you also know how to get into great colleges, and you love doing that. You love teaching people that. So highlight that. So you figure out what you love, and then you figure out who needs that, who's your ideal client, right? So whatever the thing is, you figure out who your ideal client is, and then after you figure out your ideal client, you create, you get a business coach. You get a business coach, and then you create or learn how to create a 5-figure offer, right? So learn how to create an offer that's $10,000 and up, and then learn how to sell that offer that's $10,000 and up. And then you can start living a life of peaceful profits, right? Last piece. You then coach. You do small group coaching. So you teach a class online, a couple hours a week, maybe, every week, right? So what is that? Maybe 8 hours or 10 hours a month. And it's on a topic you already know. You're not having to research it. You're not having to make a gazillion slides. You already know how to start the nonprofit. You've done it. You already know how to start the daycare. You've done it, right? So you teach that class a couple nights a week, and now you're bringing in, 5-figure months, and you're only working, 20 hours a week, right? From the internet, right? From your phone, from, wherever. So that's the path to peaceful profits. And the reason why I love this model is because it works really well for those of us who are neurodivergent. Oh my God, like you, Charlotte? Yes, like me. You get me. You get me so much. You could follow me on Eventbrite. I have a lot of classes on Eventbrite. I have a Facebook group, Divine Black Business Goddess. I'm on Instagram, Charlotte Stevens and the Ancestors. I'm on YouTube, Charlotte Stevens and the Ancestors. Oh my God, right here. And I think that's all the things. You can schedule a call with me so that we can talk about how you can get on your path to peaceful profits. Again, recently got my client to $200,000 in 9 months, y'all. And the best part was she got her sleep. She got to play with her niece. She got to buy cute dresses and go on dates and eat good food. She got to rest. It's not just about making the money. It's about how you make the money. In some of your jobs, you got golden handcuffs where they are paying you well, but you feel like you can't leave because now you got this mortgage bill, and you're tied to all these things you want to pay for, and you got addicted to that paycheck. But you can do that. You could do better for yourself. Let's talk about it. Good night.